Hello. Today's recipe is oatmeal-raisin cookies. These don't take very long, so I'll start these off quick. Now you need some softened butter, so I left a pound of butter on the counter until you basically can do that with your thumb in it. So I need 3/4 of a cup. So remembering our prior butter math here, what you do is find out where it's going to open, which is up here. Okay, so if that's 1 cup, and that's a half a cup, and I need 3/4 of a cup, there's my score line. So then you open this up. Cut it along the line. And that gets tossed in the bowl. Now cookie recipes, I'm making this by the way because I did talk to somebody the other day who's not from here and didn't actually know how to make cookies. So that can happen, and some other people might not know either. So the first thing in any cookie recipe, these are all nearly the same, is you cream the butter. So I'm going to start that and I'll come back. So when creaming butter, first thing you do is get your wooden spoon and kind of start breaking it up into pieces. The recipe will then tell you to cream the sugars into it. I'm going to measure those and put those in and get started. You need 3/4 of a cup of butter, 3/4 of a cup of, I use the golden brown sugar, 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. Okay, so I've got the 2 sugars in the bowl, and as you can tell the brown sugar is packed. So to cream these, what you basically do is just kind of mush the butter into the sugar until it's even. This is nearly creamed now. There's 2 ways to finish it off. Either you can do the stab it method, or you can use the side of the bowl, and basically what you're doing is you're rubbing the butter with the sugar against the side of the bowl to make sure that it's all an even consistency. This is now completely creamed. The appearance you should have is peanut butter. Next thing for this recipe, it says 2 eggs. So just crack 2 eggs directly into here. I beat both of them in at the same time. Takes just as long as doing one after another. Okay, now this is going to get a bit slimy at the beginning. So this will take a few minutes. You'll notice how the sugar mixture breaks up when you throw the eggs in. But you just have to keep at it. I prefer a wooden spoon to a whisk for this one, until it gets what the recipes term fluffy. Okay, so after your mix is fluffy, and you can see from that, what you do is you add the vanilla. I put in a teaspoon of vanilla. It's always good to put the vanilla at the end. A lot of recipes will say put it in with the eggs, and yes, you can do that. But what the vanilla does is it serves as a color clue of when your mixture is really even. So the vanilla's in. Now, I've got the dry ingredients here. I put in a teaspoon of baking soda and a cup and a half of plain flour, all-purpose flour. No salt. Some recipes call for salt. The baking soda is sodium bicarb and already has enough sodium in it, so unless you like salty cookies, don't put that in. Now, you should just add this in thirds. What's a third? We'll put about that much. If it's off, it doesn't matter. Then what you do is turn this over until the batter absorbs the flour. Okay, the cookie dough batter is complete. The last step is to stir in the oatmeal and the raisins. For this, I put in 3 cups of oatmeal and 1 cup of raisins. So I'll just toss those in and stir those up, and I'll come back with the cookie sheets ready to go. Okay, so I've got the oatmeal and the raisins in here. This is like half stirred in. What you're basically looking for here is you're going to pick up the mass, and you'll see there's some oatmeal at the bottom. Basically just pick it up and turn it over until you get all the dried stuff off the bottom. Okay, the batter's done. I got my cookie sheet on a work surface. I'm using the stove here. Couple things about cookies. Your cookies will spread or they won't. Okay, all cookies will go down a bit. The higher percentage of wet ingredients like butter and eggs that you have in the cookie, the higher chance that your cookie will spread out and like sort of meld into the other cookies. If you've got a much higher percentage of flour, they'll basically stay put. They'll deform a little bit, but they'll stay put. The first batch I had made of these to test the other day had a little too much butter, like too much butter to flour ratio, so I did increase the flour and the oats today, and we'll see what happens. Most of these recipes say they make 48 cookies, so you'll need 2 cookie sheets. The best way to do that is to do 4 by 6. Do your outside first, you got an idea where you are. So how big is a cookie? Well, you get 2 teaspoons, pick up about that much with 1, and then push it off where you want it to go with the other spoon. That one's a little big. I may finish at a lot less than 48. I don't really worry about that. Just make the cookies and watch them. So I'll finish these 2 trays. I've got my oven heating up to 375 degrees Fahrenheit now. Well, I've got all the cookies on the sheets, and as you'll see, I've got 46 cookies, so that's not too bad. Now, I mean, if you really feel compelled to start chipping away at these and make 2 more cookies, knock yourself out. Once these come out of the oven, they won't last long enough to count anyways, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Okay, so I've got the ovens heated up at 375. I've got the 2 cookie racks close to each other. The time on this recipe is 8 to 10 minutes. This is one where you have to be very visual. Check the cookies at 5 minutes and switch the racks. Okay, I've got the oven door open just to give you a look here. I switched them halfway through. It's been 10 minutes, counting 1 minute for that. You got to be very careful here because if you leave them in too long, they will burn very, very easily. The top ones are looking a bit browned. The bottom ones look like they might be a bit undercooked, but I'm not going to take any chances, and I'm just going to pop them on the top of the stove right now. Okay, the cookies are out, so I can get a good close look at them. Now you'll notice these ones are a little underdone here. The stove is off. Now, what I think I will do is, since the oven is off, I will put these back in. There's enough heat in the oven to finish them off, but also slow it down that I don't have to worry about them burning. Okay, this is what they look like after 2 more minutes in the oven that's been turned off. They're just the right color now. Now you should definitely let them cool on the cookie sheets before you put them on your cookie racks, okay? The reason you do this is they will buckle. I will sacrifice a cookie for you so that you can see. Well, that's not too bad. If you get them when they're really, really fresh, they will just, yeah, like this. They'll start to bend and whatnot. If you leave them on too long, even though they're non-stick, they will stick and you'll have a hard time getting them off. They're all on the sheets, and just in case any cookie police are watching here, there are still 46 cookies. That won't last long. So I just want to turn one over so you can see. Yep, this is from one sheet. This is from the other sheet. They're perfectly done. And, oh, I've touched this one, so I guess I'm going to have to eat this one. Yep. They'll come out just right. Tender, without being crumbly. They're not falling apart. Thanks for joining me today. Oops, shouldn't talk with my mouth full. Thanks for joining me again today, and I'll see you next time.